Hi there, folks. I'm sorry for being late, and yeah, it has been a rough week, rough month, and a lot of shit. Since I am a janitor, of course it is a job, which I don't argue, even if it is hard. Yes, of course. But my biggest are is that I'm still home, thinking of moving out from the family, and I don't know when or why or what. Except that, of course, I want to move out from the family, but it's too hard. And with that, as I promised about you about this dog Wilson, as I try to figure out, it has been hard for me to ever think what I could actually talk about. I mean, there is a lot of him. I have only come up with few things, yet it is too hard to understand all of the concept of his own mind. But even if I understand his mind that he want to go to the present of the Christianity with patriotism, like for example, everybody have to worship the Christianity. Every woman have to submit to men, and men are the superior one, kind of the royal one in the family, the biggest brat in the past, as I see at least. What you ever define is up to you. But this dog Wilson is the most toxic person ever, and I don't know how am I going to talk about him, except that I have at least received a few things. So this video about Doug Wilson, I don't think I'm going to make a part 2 of it, except to just find out what exactly Doug Wilson is and are as a person. So yeah, there's a lot of things about him. However, I don't think he's an extremist, but for some reason he is a very sexistic person, of course. And yeah, I don't want to mention anything when it comes to him, of course. Anyway, back to me. I, on the other hand, suffer a lot of things when it comes to both job and anything myself. Whatever I have going through in my own home, in this environment I'm living in, all kind of hell, all of kind of shit I can actually recognize from my past since I was a young kid. Of course, I'm a scapegoat. And that's how it is to live as a scapegoat in this environment, of course. There's nothing I can do. However, the only thing I actually trying to do now is just find an extra job and so on, so I can pay back everything I have left, of course. The point is that I have made a loan, of course, for the past when I was actually helping my relative who had a problem and had no one to rely to, since she had been in the hospital in the past. I was the one who jumped in and helped her as much I could. But since I know exactly there were a risk, of course, since I was in control over my money, meaning, don't get me wrong, I'm not sick. I can still handle myself. But when you actually make a promise with a narcissist who actually are control over whatsoever in your life, you have to submit to the narcissist in everything, the littlest detail ever. And yeah, that's exactly what I am. Because I have been stuck in this home for over 34 years with my own narcissistic mother. And I haven't had any easy time with her, as much as I didn't have any easy time with my narcissistic stepfather. Even if he is just, how should I say? He's not an easy person you can deal with either. He could go even in the smallest details I do, as he can simply pointing at and later bully me for whatsoever. Take for example when I was a kid. True, I was always watching cartoon as much as I could, watching kid channel with real people on. I mean, I had no problem no matter if they were cartoon or not. So yeah. And suddenly that person changed the channel just because he wanted to see some soccer or football in the nation and so on. Yeah. I mean, we had two channels as I watched it. You maybe recognize the channel TCC. Short is for the Children's Channel. One of my favorite channels. I watched it since I was just 2 years old. I was just a toddler when I was watching it. And it was wonderful to see it. But unfortunately, when it comes to 2000, oh my god. I'm sorry again, folks. As I said, I'm in the plane now since my stepfather came home again after giving my mother a lift to the town as she worked in. Yeah, give me a minute. Oh, I'm here again. As I said, since I have a problem with my family, I have to really leave it far away from them, if I may say it. None of them should actually know that I have a YouTube channel myself. As I said, I have been stuck with them so many years I can remember. The time I remember that I got enough was 2017, that I wanted to get out of it. But the problem was still that I couldn't tell anybody, not in my hometown. I didn't want to create chaos outside of this environment I live in. But I wanted to be free from whatsoever I actually lived in. So I tried to watch every part when I could just move out from the house and so on. But my mistake was that I warned my mother that I'm going to get out of the house. And that ended not so well. Instead for just doing it, which I actually was supposed to do. But here's the thing. Telling a parent immediately that you're going to go out, of course they're going to fight you for saying it, of course. Because you're not supposed to be the one who threatened them. Instead, it is them who are going to threaten you. That's how it is. In our background. My mom had herself growing up with narcissists in the past, which is also shifted to me later, since she also raised me as a narcissist who took care about children. I'm sorry if I disappear for a while. Yeah, I needed somewhere that I could actually talk in peace without to be disturbed. But as I said, since I know that my mother have always talking about whatever she lived, which made me also understand a part of herself. So there's nothing she have consumed for herself, but instead there's something she have learned in the past, a part of the life, because narcissism existed everywhere the time she was young, as she grew up in the environment. And of course, there will always be narcissists who bragging about their children. So the winners will always bragging about their children all the time, where the losers will shame the children they have grown up with. So yeah, and here am I, that kind of person, as my mother shamed me when I was younger. But the elder time when I grew up, okay, she didn't shame me like she did it in the past, but still did it because I wasn't educated as well. Fine, okay. And the reason to why I maybe struggle when it comes to the school is because of the environment I lived in. It was hellish. I didn't have any easy time when I was younger. I had to deal with all of those shit. The only person I could talk with was at least my father, and then my uncle, then my auntie. When I say my father and my uncle, that was from my father's side. My auntie is from my mother's side, as I still had contact with. And she is the only one who can talk with me with reason. At least one of them, because one of them are at least a genius. The other one, well, she is a genius, but not into it, if I may say it. She's more like chill anyway, even if she could sometimes be pissed off, but not on me, but many other things, of course. But as we're saying, there is a mindset between golden child and scapegoat at home. I was the scapegoat, the firstborn of my own mother. And the middle child is my youngest brother from my mother's side, and the golden child is the child who were born after me. One of my young brother who are elderly than other siblings. And then for my father's side, I have a big brother, of course. We were enemies in the past. For some reason, I drop it and try to at least being nice to him, which I am, of course. Anyway, after my father's death, I didn't have any time at all. With all of this kind of shit I have going through, with my father gone, I needed to take care of myself. My mother did struggle because she didn't have enough of job while she was still studying. It was that time she was thinking it's enough. She need to study. Otherwise, it was we, the children, who was supposed to support her, taking care of her, all of this kind of old thing as people were learned in the past. When it comes to the parents who once were the provider, who going to retire one day, we are the new provider who should actually give the same thing. But that means my mother will go early to retirement. That was her thinking in the past. Now, today, she working, which is okay for me. I have no problem. If my mother would struggle, of course, I would actually jump in and help her. But here's the thing. Since she is still complaining me for working as a janitor, of course it is a problem because I have only a short limited of payment, meaning I earn around $1,400, will it say. And I don't know what I can do except to find a second job. I remember my second job I had when I was actually sharing newspaper, not newspaper, but commercial papers. Don't get me wrong, but there is some things for sometimes. Both commercial papers, ad papers, of course. All of this fit in. True, I handled everything perfect. In every district I have been told to work on. But only one district was still a problem to work on. Because I didn't want it to be someone who would actually been said. You see, I work at the night all the time, which I have always done in the past of the time, all the time. And I didn't have any easy time when I was still at home, but I worked for myself, took care of my economy, and nothing at all. But there were times when those employers were asking me if I could work on other districts, especially the district I would never accept. The district who actually were on hellhole because of different routines from each and any building I have to reach in. Of course, there were a few of them who were open early in the morning, which was okay for me. But there were also departments who were open only on 6 a.m. And that was the biggest problem because I didn't want to be seen. So yeah, I ended up sooner or later to quit. Because I can't have my mother seeing me working and then asking me, why didn't you talk with me? Why are you taking low price job all the time? Kind of. And it is so frustrating to overgoing with this kind of shit my mother literally can explode for. I mean, she have always think that I should actually work in supermarket. For what? I can't help if the employer or CEO doesn't hire me. How many times have I tried to asking for job in a supermarket? To be more certain, I maybe have done that for over 30 times and yet been declined. I haven't been accepted. I don't know if this is about my low grades or I'm just some kind of nincompoop who literally were the positive person in the city, yet I'm dealing with negative people in my hometown. And yes, since I wanted to just escape from this city, as I didn't like, of course, I wanted to get out from this hellhole I was in, so I could actually move in to one of my town neighbors, so I could live a peaceful life, even if that means I don't have to talk with someone or greet to someone who literally are pissed off every day. Because there were a lot of toxic people outside on this town I wanted to be. But there was the time I wanted to start a new life, refreshing. Okay, there is a moment that I didn't tell you. Why am I still home? Well, apparently in 2019, my mother did have some problem with her health, which means that I have to be there for her no matter what. So 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, I have suffered a lot, of course. I didn't have any time at all. For all those fights I had with my own mother, I actually paying my own bill to make sure that I can actually get rid of this shit I had. And since I owe only my mother for over 30,000, not 30,000, I'm sorry, for over 3,000 bucks, I gave it to her. But she doesn't remember anything. She only remembers what I have to pay in the house, which I do. But that's the thing. But I don't want my mother's money back at all. I don't want that. All I want is peace. All I want to have a new job so I can actually pay everything I have in my head. And since my mother can control me all the time, I will actually have a lot of money without her caring about me doing something. For example, if I'm going to buy some few things, since I'm taking care of my own lunch, my own food, I'm not a baby anymore. I'm just a guy who's taking care of myself, like a responsible woman, kind of. Well, I am a man, yes, but I actually no. I don't referring myself as a woman, but I just telling what I feel like, since I know that women used to take care of themselves. That kind of thing is exactly me as a man taking care of myself. That's what I do, because I actually did it for my own purpose and myself. No one else needed to do that for me. And here am I, still sitting in my shitty home as I can nothing do, and I can't move out without my mother saying that you can move. Anyway, that's all I can say for now, and if you want to comment something, please subscribe to my channel and give me a like down or down now. We see you. Hey, bye.